I remember we were out in the woods of Ashurst Beacon, and now this is a place I've never been to. I didn't know.
And you can hear that, and it's just turned itself off again.
Well, hello from Ashurst Beacon. As you can see, if you look it up, Ashurst Beacon, you'll find this little bit of a monument. Right, why Ashurst Beacon, you ask? Right, well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna follow on from the last video or do this as a separate video, but we went over to Rivington in the Terrace Gardens, so I might split this one up from the other. I might carry it on, I don't know yet. It depends what the editing's like, and the pictures and whatnot, and how long it is over at Rivington at the Terrace Gardens. But basically the story goes where last week we went over to the Terrace Gardens, as I've just said, and I was working the following morning, so I had to be in early, so I couldn't follow these guys. Now there was Kaz, Mike, Daz's brother, Cooch, Kaz, Harlem, me, and we took, like I say, the best way to describe it is I split with them at the Terrace Gardens, and they went to go over to, well, towards this end, and this is where they come. Now they had a bit of an experience, and obviously I weren't here to capture it, unfortunately, but I've come back tonight because obviously I want to show you the area in the dark and see as well if there is any actual feeling, but that's the idea, to come over. I've got the EMF, I've got the parabolic, we've got the tripod, we've got SLS, so we're armed with everything. But you know, and there might be a 1% chance where, you know, we do actually see something. I don't know, but I wanted to show you, and I wanted to come myself and actually see the actual location in person. So you can see there in front you got Cooch and Mick, and Mick's just doing a little bit of filming. So if you see this first, bob over to Mick's channel, Mick McLaren's channel, and have a look at that, because obviously he was a witness to it. But what I'll do, I'll just drop this now and fill you in a little bit more when I know the actual location it was at. But yeah, so from Ash's Beacon, keep watching. I'll speak to you soon.
I could see it looked like a body, and it looked like it was moving, but it was sort of like looking around a tree and looking over at us. Now in the next minute I heard Mike say, "What's that over there? Can you see it? There's something over there, there's a shadow over there, you know, like," and I said, "Yeah, I can see it."
Somewhere with shadows, Cooch, over here.
Looking in another part here. I'm looking straight there. And I
Looking
could
through the
see
fog
it
of those trees.
They saw it over there.
Behind the fence.
And over
So
there.
they were looking at
So in
something
this
over there, and I'm
vicinity.
looking at this. I think
Bloody hell, so
Alan
they were
was the one
close
who
then.
saw this one
Nick
as well.
reckons there was two of them.
I'd seen the other one over there.
Mike
Now I
thought
turned my
there was
torch
more.
on and I said, "Yeah, I can
But
see
it
it
did
over
feel
there."
like one was
And they
around.
turned it on, they said, "No, it's over on the opposite side." So I shone my torch round, and I mean, we couldn't see anything with the torches on, so we turned them back off again.
It's a very small coppice, isn't it? Not over there, I mean, you can see one and two, well, more or less, well, we are at one end and you can see straight through to the other. There you can see the light coming through. So we're here early, so looks like we just have to sit on there for a little bit. Yeah, so you've just heard what Mick said, that
You can see a lot of light. Now,
yeah, it's only small, like I say, small coppice. You can more or less, well, you can see 360 all the way around, to be fair, so it is quite a strange one. It's not a large one at all. But I got a little bit of an inkly feeling. Now, funny enough, I had a comment off, if you look on one of my actual latest videos, I think it was the actual last one, I think, where David, one of me subscribers, said to me, "Lee," he said, "what's the feeling like?" So I sent a, you'll see it, replied if you look for it. Sorry, I don't know David's full name, his actual, you know, his thumbnail name, whatever you call it. But I tried to explain that when I first started doing this, it was more or less, come on, let's go into houses, let's go, ghosts, and you know, all this, and you think, oh God, you know, East Drive 30 thing, oh, they see things and all that. It's nothing like that. So you can get that out of your head completely. Yeah, that's an extra, but the thing is, it's the feeling. Now, when you felt stuff, it's kind of hard to explain. The energies have a different feeling to what you're actually picking up. So you actually learn, your body actually learns how to maybe, pick up that it's a ghost. It's, you get a kind of a feeling that way. Is it a ley line? It's little things that just pick up, and you can't really put it down on paper what you feel, because you get different feelings. I get a lot of it in my head. I've got a very mild headache. I never get headaches. I never ever get headaches. I never take any paracetamol. I never have done, unless it's you've been out on the, and it's but it's very rare. I probably count on one hand the number of paracetamols I've had in my life. That's no word of a lie. I don't like pushing tablets or anything like that. I go more for the nature side of things. But what I'm trying to say is, your body learns. It's like a third eye. It kind of detects what's around you. Obviously you can't see it, but it detects what's around you. Now, David said to me, he said, what's the feeling like? And I said, well, it's very hard to describe, because each feeling of each energy is different. At Bempton, my body was actually shaking. If you watch the Bempton one back, I actually say to Mick, feel me hand, feel me, and he goes, oh bloody hell, them were his exact words. My body was shaking to bits. It's like if something would have come up to me, it's like I would have felt like I'd gone into a million pieces, like a piece of glass. It was weird, but that's just adrenaline as well added to that it's something saying, look Lee, it's not right, it's the environment, the surrounding around you is not safe, get out of there. Now when we went back to Bempton after that experience, we stood our ground, and it was looking, we could see it. It was used in the building to go in corner to corner, whatever, and hiding. I could see it. I first saw it stretch. If you look at, Bempton RSPB, you'll see, get it on the actual internet, get it up on pictures, and you'll see there's a porter cabin, a gate with a gap, and then the RSPB building. Now, I was actually facing the actual gate itself, and there was some others in front of me, and I saw the shadow come up and then stretch. But as soon as I clapped eyes on it and didn't say a thing, before that split second where I said something, that it knew I'd seen it. It was stretching so that it was saying, look at me, don't talk amongst yourselves, look at me. And as soon as I did, it just shot back really small and fired off, and then everybody said, what's that? I can feel something. So it's very hard to explain what the feeling is on camera. You might see it when we see something, but it's very hard, like I said to David, to describe the actual feeling, because every feeling is totally different. You get a mild headache, you get a strong headache, you get sometimes you make his ears start whistling. Mine have once, which is quite strange, but it's very hard. But I said to David, I thought next time I do a video and we're at an occasion like this where it was about the feeling, I said I'll try and talk about it, but it's very hard, like I said. But it's like the more you stand here, that if something comes later on, that we'll actually pick it up before we actually see anything. Same again at Benton, when we had that little bit on the car park, which was frightening really, because we'd never ever felt it before. You could feel it circling you. It was actually circling you, and you were looking at either way, and it was playing games with you. It's like we said, the paranormal, it's a trickster element to it. But as soon as it went, and as soon as Pete said it's gone, I felt like I jumped out of a plane. I can't explain it. And that was the third eye of my energy saying you're back, you're back to normality in a way. It's but it's very strange. But the thing is as well, we don't just come out to see things, we come out for the feeling. Because if we feel something, then we'll mark it down and we'll say, right mate, do you reckon, in a month's time we'll come back and have a look. So that's really what it's about. But yeah, it's extra if you do see something like, you know, they saw when they came up on Saturday night, just gone, they actually saw 2 shadows, and they were like peeping round a tree. Now I don't know the actual full story, I don't know what the energy was really like in itself, because that's another thing, different energies appear in a different way. Is it our brain, is it totally different, you know? So but like I say, it's very hard, but it's an amazing feeling. It's absolutely amazing when the feeling's just right. But yeah, but like I say, we keep looking, and I was a bit gutted, well, really gutted, but if ones had been working, I would have been here Saturday. But there was, how many of them? There was Mick, 2, 3, 4, 5, there was 6 of them, and none of them used the camera. So when you get people saying, why did you not pick your camera up, and you know, it's a totally different aspect. I mean, I was talking to Steve Meara about it, and Steve said, yeah, yes, you do forget because you're stunned and you try to say, is it not, what is it, what, you know, but also it changes you as a person. And again, that I actually did find out when we went to Benton, because when I saw the 2 laser green eyes looking at me for half an hour after, I didn't trigger that, Lee, why did you not film it? Why the hell did you not film it? But it's just one of them, you can't explain it. But yeah, so on that note of me babbling on and trying to explain the feeling of the paranormal, I'll just put this stuff down and I'll just have a bit more scouting about and see if I can get a bit more of the feeling. But yeah, so I will get the full story off Mick in a second and see what the actual entities appeared like. But like I say, it was 2 shadow black entities against the actual moonlight lighting just outside, so you couldn't get it wrong. But yeah, I'll find out more, so keep watching and I'll fill you in a little bit more. Keep watching. Oh, right, if you look in the distance over there, right at the top, Vash's Beacon, you'll see somewhere over there, I was trying to take a photo, and in the distance there, without changing lenses, this is as far as I can see, to be honest. I'll take a photo with the max on, this lens anyway, so I've not brought another extended lens. But you see Blackpool Tower over in the distance, so we're pretty high up to see everything. As we say over there, we've got the red lady, but the lights are not on at the moment. But yeah, you can see all around. But it's not an actual place we think of coming, to be fair. But you know, maybe, you know, sometimes you get a place where it's active for so long, and then others it's very quiet. So maybe we've come when it's active. Because, you know, me and Mick spoke in the past and said about the ley lines is in winter they're really low on the actual energy they give off, but coming into the new year, the new season, they start picking up an extra strength, which is very strange in itself. But yeah, there's definitely a key to all this, but the trouble is us as humans have not got that key. Or if we've got the key and getting close, it doesn't fit the lock. But yeah, so we'll just have a bit of a minute, have a bit of another scout round, and then we'll head back to where we had like a bit of a fright night on Saturday. So yeah. Right, Mick's just going to tell us, because obviously I wasn't here last Saturday, just gone. So Mick's going to tell us what actually happened. You know, but as well you can also have a look at Mick's channel. Just go over to Mick McClelland's channel and he'll explain, you know, maybe in a little bit more detail, but this is just a brief because we were not here, and he's just kindly said, you know. So I said, yeah, tell me the story. So yeah.
Well,
go on, Nick.
I'm hoping as well to get the witnesses to talk about it over on my channel. So
All right, yeah, that's
once
good.
it gets
That's
up
good.
there, that's if I can get them together to
Yeah, and they're
talk
not,
in that. But the area we're in, I mean, we're not near the area at the moment. We just walked over to look at the view really at this point. But last Saturday we pulled up at the car park. We ended up walking towards the beacon up here, and then we walked a little bit further down towards the field to look over at this view in a different area than here, just on the other side. And we were stood talking, and it was Alum. He turned around. You know, at that point we're myself. I was picking some sort of like electrical energy from the area. Now, looking around here, there are no pylons, there are no electrical wires. I mean, there are in distance going towards the odd farm down at the bottom, but not up here. And we got to the area looking out, and we were walking away, and Alum says to me, he says that, you know, it feels strange up there. I don't think I want to go over there. And you know what I'm like, it's you know, if somebody says
Like
something
me,
like
boom,
that,
you do the real
we need to go and have a look, or you know, this feeling that was around it was like an electrical charge feeling. Hers on my hands were sticking up, and on my hands, back of my neck, you know, I could feel it a little bit, but it was an heaviness in our heads as well. So we were walking up this like little path towards where Alan really didn't want to go. So we're walking along, and it starts getting heavier and heavier, to a point where I see an opening. That opening what we saw earlier on, I saw that, and I thought, oh, we'll walk into this wooded area, and that is where it sort of hit us. You know, it was
bricks,
it was so heavy at that point. So I carried on walking through these woods, and I got so far, and that feeling started like dispersing. You know, it faded out a little. So we walked back towards where it was getting heavier and heavier again. Now, as you know tonight, because you've been there, you saw them, the ground where they look like almost burial mounds, and there's quite a few around. Now, I'm not saying they are burial mounds, but they do look like it. Looking back and looking at the old maps, I've not seen anything. You know, there's no indication that there are any burial mounds or anything like that around this area, but we don't know, do we? You know, we don't know whether there will be or whether there's not. We've got all these woods around, so we're not sure. So we're in this area,
but
and
just
we're
saying there,
that.
Mick, just interrupt, that we can see Roundlaw from here.
Yeah.
And obviously that's high up. Well, Ash's Beacon is the same. That's high up. So there's no reason why there wouldn't be, or maybe there shouldn't be, a burial mound. That's where I'm thinking.
Well, yeah, probably there is. I mean, you know, all up and down the country, you've got these burial mounds that aren't registered, that are here, there and everywhere, and there's that many in this country that are registered. When you look at a map of say a megalithic portal, when you look at their maps, you know, when you zoom out from their maps, you don't see the country. You see the shape of it, but you just see all the sites that are around. And I'm not talking just burial mounds, I'm talking stone circles, hill forts and things like that. And because these places are high up, we probably might have had at one time some sort of hill fort round here, like over around Winter Hill. And there's an hill in front of us which is quite high up there, and then we've got the flats going all the way down to the coast then.
Perfect, really,
from here.
It's absolutely
so
perfect.
You can imagine, you know, in the ancient times, I'm being up here looking out to see whether there was any invaders coming or anyone coming near their villages. So this area where I, you know, thought it looks like a burial mound or a couple of burial mounds, we were stood there for a while, and this sense were coming over us. They were talking about, you know, like feeling scared and, you know, like uneasy. So I said, let's turn the torches off. Let's stand here in the dark. You know, because we've had that experience, me, you, when we've been out before, where we turn things off and we've heard things around us.
Yeah, like Dane's
Yeah.
dark. Yeah.
So that's what I was expecting. I was expecting to hear at least somewhere. But as the lights went off, we were looking. I'm looking in one direction, and I see this what looks like a person stood there, and the trees in front, they've got their arm like this, and they're moving out, looking and moving like that, and then moving out again. I'm thinking, you know, like, what's that? Am I seeing right here? There's a shadow there. There's somebody stood there. And then it was Mike who was with us. He actually said, what's that over there? There's somebody over there. Can you see it? And I said, yeah, I can see this. And I'm looking in this direction. So at that point, I put my torch back on. And there's nothing there. It's just trees. You know, it's lit up trees in the field beyond. And Mike and Darren at that time said, no, it's over there. So I put my torch to where they were seeing the same thing as what I was seeing, standing there, but more to them more prominent. You know, I was seeing it like hiding behind a tree, they were seeing it right there. But so when I turned the torch back off again, and I was looking, I was seeing this movement and I was seeing that movement as well. So there were more than one there.
Okay.
They were
Two at
looking
least.
at one. Now, Alan, who was stood at side of me, he saw both as well. He saw what they were looking at, and he saw what I was looking at. At that point, it was worrying for the other crew.
Yeah, they got
you know, they got scared. They wanted to go. Me and Alan sort of walked slowly back, and step back and let them move a bit forward because we wanted to see if anything would happen.
Right.
Now, I know Alan wasn't scared. Because he was saying, same as me, let's stay a bit longer.
Yeah.
But they were, no, we need to get out of here. They don't feel right.
Right. Okay.
So,
But obviously, Ireland's felt that what we felt a little bit of it. Yeah.
This feeling before, yeah. So we stayed back a little bit. Now that feeling started easing the more when we came out of the trees and we got back on the path. I was looking from the opposite side then to where we would have seen them, from where we saw them the first time, looking towards them. We were on this side of them then.
Yeah.
So I put the torch on and looked around. Couldn't see anything. Turned the lights off. Still couldn't see anything. I think whatever we saw, we were seeing from the inside. We weren't seeing it on the outside.
Yes. Even though it was on the edge of the wood.
It was on the edge, but it was in just
on the inside
like this here. So yeah, we went back, and all week I was just thinking, you know, we need to get back. We need to come back to the area, see if we experience that again. We didn't have any equipment, but tonight we've brought some with us. So we're going to sit there. Again, we'll turn lights out. I've actually brought a singing bowl with me to you know, like the vibrating singing bowl, to see if that charges anything around us, to see if that changes anything within the atmosphere while we're there. You know what I'm like, I didn't even bother getting my phone out to have a look over that. You know, it not shocked me, but I was watching and thinking about it. I didn't think of getting my phone out and using my thermal camera on my phone or using my night vision.
No,
I
know. I said that to the viewers before. I was trying to describe, you know, because one of my comments has said about, you know, what do you feel, what's it for, and it's very hard to tell what you actually feel. Yeah,
well,
fascinating.
It's an explanation you can't.
So let's see. Let's see what tonight brings.
Yeah.
But we're here, and we've got all the stuff. We've got the parabolic to set up to see if we get any EVPs. Even if we don't see anything, that'll be interesting in itself. But yeah. So thanks for that, Mick. And let's have a look what's in this wood.
What I've told Mick to do is, I'm stood on the mound now, and he's going to actually act out what he actually did. Right. Okay, mate.
Well, hello, how are you doing? You alright? Hope you're all fine and dandy and enjoying the sunshine. I'm just out walking Toby in the woods. Right, basically I just wanted to get back to what I was saying about the paranormal feeling, because I think this needs to be kind of said and updated as well, because this side of things I usually forget on what I was saying before about Benton. Now, the thing about Benton was a few people, you know, have probably seen the first bit of footage where the two animals or whatever they are running away. People have said, oh, the deer. Right, one thing a lot of people don't realise is me and Mick know what a deer looks like, but also when we had the scare on the car park coming towards the end, that wasn't the end, because basically what happened was, on the way back when we left Nat and Pete, we nearly hit a deer. So, you know, we were very, very close to hitting it. You can ask Mick McLaren this. We saw its white bushy tail, so we know what a deer looks like, and it was nothing like a deer. When we got back to the caravan, basically, and we were going to the others, like, you know, what had gone on and all that, and they said, God, you look frightened to death. And yeah, so when everything calmed down, and about, I'd say quarter of an hour, 3/4 of an hour later, maybe to an hour, everything had kind of calmed down. I can see it now. Me and Mick were in the actual static caravan, and we were both more or less side by side of each other in the kitchen, and the feeling came again, but not as strong. The one what we had at the actual car park, where it was circling you, it was circling the caravan. Now me and Mick looked at each other, and we didn't need to say anything because we knew what both of us were thinking. So we kind of was thinking, God, yeah, it's followed us back. Now, when I said to Mick, Mick, do you want to have a go look outside? And I said also as well, I've left something out, you know, I should have got in the car. I don't know what it was. And they said, yeah, come on, we'll go out. Well, we went outside the static caravan, and we went to the end, to the front, where the car was parked. And that's obviously the road where the actual park is. Now remember, this is out of season, so there was nobody in front of us across way, either side. It was really quiet. And it was late on at night when we got back. So we were looking around, nothing. And then there was an actual row of trees at the bottom of the incline, like fern trees, what they'd put up as like a picturesque fence in a way. And I said, come on, we'll walk down there and have a look. Nothing. But on the way back, after looking round the previous caravans around us and our own caravan, and we said, right, there's nothing, come on. The feeling had kind of gone. But we were walking back up the road to the caravan to decide to go back into the caravan, and we heard something like a gravel stone move, like you kicked a gravel stone. And we both stopped again and we said, what's that, you know? But basically, I was just trying to get over that the feeling does a lot of, there's a lot of uses to it. It's like I don't know how to, it's very hard to explain, but there's a lot of uses to it. Because if you think, you're obviously watching this video, and you're only watching this video because basically H and Mick were actually two kin by the feeling into the actual coppice wood. They may not have even gone into it. So that was the feeling what pulled them in, which saw the shadow entities. So what I did is I sent, because H was the last one standing at the side of Mick, because the rest of them were a bit spooked, and they said, look, I've had enough, let's go. And Mick and H wanted to stop, but they couldn't. So they ended up, they stood as long as they could, and the others were waiting outside the coppice itself. And I just thought, right, okay, last man standing was Harlem with Mick. So you've heard what Mick said. So I wanted to get Harlem's account. Now he has kindly sent over a short little bit of a, well, the encounter itself. So just judge for yourself. But like I said, this feeling thing it's an amazing thing when you get it right, but it also teaches us as well. So like I said, make your own mind up. and sorry, I hope you've enjoyed the video so far, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. But like I say, when you say something like, you know, it's about seeing ghosts and going out seeing them out, it's nothing to do with that. It's nothing to do with it whatsoever. It's more about the feeling, to see if anything is present around you. So on that note, I'll carry on taking Toby, there he is, mooching about for a walk, and thanks for supporting me. I've got a lot more subscribers in the past couple of weeks, don't know why, but must be doing something right. So thanks for that, and like I say, the next person you'll see on the screen is Ellen. And thanks again, Ellen. Bye bye for now.
And I don't think any of us did, really. I remember the first thing I felt was this kind of eerie, this kind of eeriness that came from the left of us, which would have gone down, and then you've got a group of trees to the right, which is where everything kind of went down, I suppose. So I told Mick, there's a weird feeling over there, and he said, let's go over. So we did, and we ended up going into this small patch of woods, and there was these mounds which, from what we know of, aren't burial mounds or anything megalithic, but there's always the possibility, obviously. But we were standing on these mounds, we'd all kind of got this eerie feeling by then, and then one of the group said, what's over there, do you see it? And Mick said, yeah, I can see it. But what we didn't know at that moment is we were looking at completely different parts of the wood. That's when we kind of realised there's two of them. Now, by them, I mean these almost shadow entities. We have no clue what they are, but they're, I guess you could describe them as being somewhat humanoid, but they were kind of moving in a sense. Now, by then, the group was kind of scared, and we ended up going, even though myself and Mick did want to hang around to see if we could get any more activity. Unfortunately, we didn't. But it's definitely a place we need to go back to, because even if there are some kind of ancient burial mound-esque, what do you call them, kind of hills, mounds, there's always the chance that these shadow entities could be some kind of nature spirit or deity or something which kind of protects that land.
And you can hear that, and it's just turned itself off again.
That's strange. Let's try it again. Right, this is the setup here. We've got 3 cat balls. Mick's little, what is it, Mick, again, sorry?
What, the EMF or the magnetic
the magnetic
anomaly detector?
Yeah, this is special, been, you know, Mick's brought it specially because it's really been, you know, a nice little bit of kit. It's especially for this, what we're doing. But there's an EMF down there, 3 cat balls I've brought, and of course I've got the actual parabolic. See if we can catch anything while we're being quiet, or maybe ask something and get a result. And Mick's brought the singing bowl as well, and I'm going to try and throw 1.6 out as well, to see if we can draw anything in. But all we can do is try, so keep watching and let's see if we can make anything happen. But we're not feeling anything as such. Or you've got to have patience. It might just creep up on us, we don't know, but keep watching and like I said before, it's not just about looking out, it's you kind of feel it drawing in before you actually see it. Okay now.
So, nothing, no feeling or whatsoever, no cat balls. It's just very, you know, when you can tell there's something going to happen. Anyway, so what we've said is we're just going to call it a night. I'll just show you over there as well. See the red lady? There's the red lady. Yeah. So great cracking view for me, by the way. But yeah, so we're going to call it a night, and I said maybe it's worth leaving it for a bit and then coming back again. But you know, it's one of them, isn't it? Where they weren't expecting anything. They come over here for a bit of a, you know, nip up of something to eat in between, and then they came over here for a, you know, because Daz wanted to come over here and have a look. I'm not even sure if they'd been before. That might have been why they bobbed over.
No, that's why we came over.
What, because they'd never been over?
Yeah, he'd seen it from Winter Hill. You could see it from Winter Hill, this hill.
Right.
And that's why you always thought, well, we might know anything about that.
Right, I'm with you. But like I say, you know, they'd not come over with anything. They didn't bring any gear because they didn't expect to be. Well, I think they'd switched off basically. The paranormal switched off. But there again, that might be why something kind of appeared, because they had no equipment. I don't know. Anyway, on that note, I'll have to watch one going. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to head back to the car, and we'll see you again soon. So from me at W.H.I.T, from Mick at W.H.I.T, and Cooch at W.H.I.T, it's we'll see you soon. Bye for now. Thanks for watching, and thanks also for the new subscribers and the old. Till next time, bye bye for now. And remember, don't be scared of the dark, but be scared of what's in it.